Hey there. I wanted to share my top 10 watchouts for getting property in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. And surprisingly enough, it has nothing to do with price. There's a lot of things I found that were important when I was purchasing my property. We purchased 100 acres this spring. We are in Michigan's eastern Upper Peninsula. Closest town to us is Newberry. There's quite a few properties out there. We had a specific list of things we were looking for, and I want to share my top 10 watchouts with you. So, not even considering, but the most important thing is to get what you want. Make sure you have a list of everything that is important to you and what you think you'd like, what you have to have. And then, there's things that you have to have, but then when it gets down to it, maybe you can bend a little bit. So, number 10, amenities. How close do you need to be to the grocery store, to Dollar General, to the gas station, to the restaurants? If you're one that goes out quite frequently, you're not going to like having to drive an hour to go get gas. So as you're looking at properties, do a Google search, take a look and see where you're going to get your groceries, where you're going to get gas. This may or may not be super important to you, but it is something to consider as you're looking for property. Number 9, recreation. What do you like to do in your free time? Do you like to ride the trails? There's a lot of snowmobile trails. There's ORV trails. There's lakes. Maybe you're a hiker. Maybe you want to be by the North Country Trail. It's important to be close to the things you want to do. If you're too far, you're never going to do it. So get on Google Maps, look and see what's around the area, and make sure you're going to be happy with it in 6 months, in 5 years. Are you where you want to be? Number 8, easements. It is amazing to me how many properties in the UP have easements. There are a lot of properties that are gridlocked, I guess you'd say, landlocked, where you have to go through somebody else's property to get to your property. We came across a few of these. Hard to believe that they're selling properties like this, that they can, but they are. So you have to make sure to check that up front. For me, this was kind of a deal breaker. If I had to go through somebody else's property to get to mine, I didn't want nothing to do with it. I want to be able just to get in and not have to ask permission or deal with somebody else, or have somebody coming through my property to get to their property. Number 7, terrain. Do you want a wooded property like this one? Do you want hilly property? Do you want to be on the water? Do you want a river or a stream on your property? For me, it was important to have wooded. So as you're looking at listings, they'll show a beautiful wooded property, and then you'll go look at it, and guess what? It's just that one picture. The rest of it could be a field. They're just trying to appeal to different buyers, so you really can't trust the pictures that they show. You have to go and walk it and see what's going on. Number 6, neighbors. Do you want close neighbors? Do you want to be close to town? Do you want to be far from town? Do you want to be on the train tracks? Do you want the train tracks to be your neighbors? Do you know if there's a gun club down the street where you may hear gunshots at random times throughout the day? These are important things to know. You can definitely utilize Google Maps, but drive the area, come during the weekday, come during the weekend, come at night, take a look around, and make sure that you're happy with what you're seeing. Maybe there's a manufacturing plant down the street and they run big semi trucks up and down the road all day long during the week. But if you come on a Saturday, you might not know that. Number 5, seasonal roads. There's a lot of properties in the UP that are on what they call seasonal roads. They may be right off the main route, right off 123 or 28. It looks really good on Google Maps, like it's going to be close. But as you go out and drive it, there's a lot of these that have a dirt road off a main road, and they go back. Some of them go back really far. Seasonal roads don't have snow plows, which doesn't seem like a big deal. But some of these seasonal roads, they use the snowmobile trails in the winter, and you're not even allowed to drive on them. You'll get a ticket. So during snowmobile season, you can't drive into your own property unless you're on a snowmobile, which to me was pretty much a deal breaker, which is why I put it at number 5. It's pretty important. Number 4, utilities. Do you need power? Do you want to live off grid? Or do you want to have utilities at your property like you do at home? If you need internet, you may have to get Starlink. If you're on a main road, you may be able to get fiber internet. There's a lot of fiber internet going in. So these are things you want to research ahead of time and see what you have to do in order to get utilities if you want them. It's really important to know if you want a septic system, you have to have a perk test, and you have to have that passed in order to get a septic. You may even make an offer on the property that it is subject to a positive perk test. We are at the top 3, and I would like to say, if you're finding value in this video, please give me a like or subscribe. I appreciate it. And now back to the top 3. Number 3, access. We talked about this a little bit. You need to make sure that you can get to your property, that it is not landlocked. This could be a serious problem. They sell properties all the time that don't have legal access. If you see a property with deeded access, that means that you have a legal way to get into it. It's part of your title work. Will say that you have access to go through somebody else's land to get to yours. There's nothing wrong with this if it's in place, but know if what you're buying is landlocked. You'll have to talk to the neighbors. You'll have to make an agreement. You'll have to pay them money to cross their land, and that's only if they want to. A lot of people may not. They may not want somebody coming across their property. So you really need to be careful with access to property. Number 2, wetlands. It is very surprising to me how much land in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan is wetlands. If you see a cattail on your property, be careful. That could be an indication that it's a wetland. There is a website I used, I will link it in the description, that you can go and check the wetlands map. With the wetlands, they're protected. From my understanding, I'm no expert by any means, but the wetlands are protected. Cannot build on them, cannot have septic, and the best use for the wetlands, from what I've seen, is hunting. So if you're looking for hunting land and you found a wetlands, it's probably a good thing. That'll bring animals, but for building a cabin, not so much. All right, number one, the dreaded number one, the most important thing I have found: zoning. If you have dreams of building a cabin on the land that you buy, and the city or township or county does not allow you to build the size cabin you want, you're going to be stuck with a property that you cannot build on. A lot of the areas that I've looked at have a minimum square foot requirement for building, whether it's a cabin, a house, if you want it to be your second home, or if you wanted it to be just a weekend cabin off-grid. Michigan is not very tiny house friendly. Where I'm at, I'm required to have over 700 square foot for building for a full-time residence. They do allow cabins a little bit smaller, but very strict. You need to figure out what your township is, or if you're in the city, or if they're following county, and read it before you do anything in that area. I saw a lot of properties that were perfect. However, the township would not let you have a camper on it, or they would not let you build a small house or have a trailer or anything. So it's very important to double check your zoning. I countless properties I had to pass on because of this. So highly do this first. If you're interested in an area, go to their website, read their zoning, and you may find that, you know, maybe you're not interested in their area because maybe they're strict. Some townships are really strict. Some townships are more forgiving. You just have to do the research and see what they say. All right, and for the bonus search tips, I mostly used realtor.com. Probably 95% of the time I use realtor.com. I also use land.com. You can also just Google land for sale Michigan. That works well. So these are some tips I have for those resources. First off, property that is good, that is desirable, goes pretty fast these days. Something could list today and could have a contract on it tomorrow. So get your ducks in a row. Research the areas you want to live in or want to buy property in. Know the basics if zoning is good for you. Know how much money you plan to spend. If you need to finance, I highly recommend Greenstone Farm Credit. They are really great to work with. They're fast. If you're paying cash, make sure you have access to it quickly, like you know how to get to your cash quickly. Just so when you find a property, you can get a contract on it, get a deposit down, and you'll be ready to roll. Sellers are a lot of times get multiple offers on property. So if you can have your ducks in a row and you put that in the offer, that could be a good thing for you, and it can help you get the property over somebody else. All right. So realtor.com, go in, set up a search, set some alerts so you get a daily alert. You can get alerts as they're posted, or you can get a daily alert, etc. Only search your absolute must-haves. If there are things you could that are nice to have, I would not include them in the search because you're going to get really narrow results. If you say you want 5 acres, but somebody is listing something that's 4.75, it's not going to show in your search. So you'll not even see it. So be careful with your search. And with that, I also went in quite frequently and I just looked at the map and I clear out my filters and I look at what's around. We actually ended up buying a property that we had marked off our list, that we looked at it and we were like, no, not good, let's not do that one. About 3 weeks later, I cleared out my filters and looked at the properties and we saw this one again and we were like, yeah, that's good, it's good enough, it's really close to what we wanted. So we came and looked at it and here we are. I'm walking in it right now. So you gotta be flexible. You never know what you want today may not be the same as what you want tomorrow, and things come up pretty often. But look at this nasty down tree. So things come up and there's really, for me anyway, there really wasn't a lot of options. There's like 10, like in the area I wanted. It's like, oh, there's some. But then you'd come back in and clear out your filter and then there's like 20. So it just helps you be clear of what you want, I guess is my thing. Being that we ended up buying something I took off my list. And same with price. I always search higher than my threshold. You're not committed to buy it. It just helps you see what's in the market. Maybe it's only $10,000 more than what you wanted to spend, but maybe the value's there and you're okay with it. So the other thing I did was I contacted a couple local realtors. And I just emailed them and said, hey, I'm looking for this, that, and the other in this area. And then they sent me emails as things came in. They are the ones listing these properties, right? So they know first when it's for sale. So you might get early jump on the market. And my last tip for searching is to be patient. Keep looking. Things come on the market every day, and have fun. I myself enjoy looking at properties. I still look at properties even though I'm not buying anything right now. Yeah, so it's a process, and I didn't really expect, like 2 years ago, I had no idea I'd be walking around my own 100-acre woods, but life is short and we decided to go for it. So I encourage you to keep looking, know what you want, get in contact with some realtors, get your finances in order for the purchase. It's going to come fast. Yeah, and just have fun. And that's it for me. I hope you have some value from this. Leave me some comments. I'm happy to see what you have to say, and if you enjoyed the content, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.